Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey guys, Dr. Dave here. What you are about to witness in this next video is a podcast I appeared on called the Ideal Impact Podcast, and it is pretty awesome. Not because I'm on it. I mean, that's cool, but the guys that host Ideal Impact, pretty amazing. I was excited to be on there. I hope you enjoy it. We get to talking about all kinds of different stuff. But, while I've got you here, before you watch the entire podcast, I got to say, follow those guys on Instagram. They're pretty busy on there. And be sure to follow the podcast. I mean, watch them here on YouTube. I wanted to repost it because I want to send some traffic over there to those guys. And they're pretty awesome. And I'm just honored to have made some cool new friends just by appearing on the podcast and being able to talk to them and hang out digitally for a little bit. So enjoy. Dr. Dave signing out.
Hey everybody, so before we get into the show, I have a question for you. I want to know who out there wants to unlock their true potential and transform their life on an extraordinary level. So there's no secret formula out there. Results come from long-term consistency, which is built through discipline. So do me a favor and take a moment to imagine what you could accomplish simply by taking consistent action towards your goals. For you, maybe that's crushing 3 workouts week in and week out, or maybe it's increasing your income by making 100 sales calls every week, no matter what. Or maybe it's simply sticking to a consistent schedule with your spouse to improve your marriage. So imagine what life could look like by building that relentless consistency. So here's the exciting news. Achieving this feat is 100% within your grasp, and we know this because we have done it. And we're here to empower you with the tools and guidance you need to cultivate relentless consistency and success in every aspect of your life. No longer will you face this journey alone because we are in your corner, ready to support you every step of the way with 3 phenomenal options to kickstart your transformation. Option number 1, our monthly Ideal Connect calls. So these calls are extremely affordable and they help inspire and equip you with the practical strategies that you need. As a bonus, all attendees receive Ideal merch that changes each month. So check out our YouTube channel to witness the transformative power of these calls for yourself. Option number 2, the Ideal Light Package. Perfect for those who already have a clear vision of the actions that they need to take, but maybe just require some external accountability to build that unwavering consistency. This option will help you stay on track and conquer your goals. Option number 3, this is the full-on Ideal Impact Coaching Package. Our comprehensive coaching is tailor-made for individuals seeking to discover their purpose, define their own success, and take on challenges to embark on a profound journey of personal growth and fulfillment. So if this got you fired up, go ahead and head over to idealimpactpodcast.com. Again, that's idealimpactpodcast.com and sign up for a free coaching consult to learn more about the transformative possibilities that await you. All right, that's enough for me. It's time to dive into the show and immerse yourself in the incredible insights and experiences of our host and guest. Let's get after it, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Ideal Impact Podcast, where we discuss 5 key skills and the impact they can have on your life, as well as some major issues in society. You ready to get after it?
We're live!
I don't even know if you gave it enough time to actually get started.
I'm sorry. It either worked or it didn't. One more time. We nailed it.
No, that's a little more editing for me. Perfect. Let's just roll with it. All right, gentlemen. So you recorded an episode without me last week. How'd that feel? Was that your win for the week?
I thought it was way better. Yeah. Than the ones with you, to be honest. But
we missed you, dude. We missed you, man. It was a good one, but we missed you. I wouldn't call it a win. I would say it was,
I don't know. It wasn't as fulfilling.
Yeah.
It wasn't. All right. Well, that means a lot to me. I appreciate that. So, well, since I wasn't here last week, I'll go ahead and get started with my win for this week. So I rewarded myself with some new running shoes yesterday and finally actually spent some money on them. Got some Hoka Cliftons, and it's like running on clouds. I was doing sprint intervals at like a 4:30 pace for 60 seconds this morning, and it was just incredible. I don't know if it was like a placebo effect that I was just amped up because I had new shoes, or it was the shoes themselves, but either way, I considered that a win. So off with a great start to the week with two good cardio sessions.
Sounds like the PF Flyers from Sandlot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher.
First off, I love the Hokas. Man, I'm a big boy. I'm like 250 pounds, and I have a stand-up desk, and the Hokas, that padding is nice.
Yeah, it's like running on clouds. It was incredible. What's your win for the week, Doc?
My win for the week, I launched a new email blast for my new rebranding, and actually got some compliments on it. And so instead of everybody unsubscribing from the list, I got some compliments. And so that's a huge win for me.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll give you three new subscriptions today after we get wrapped up with the podcast.
I appreciate it.
Randy?
Oh, yeah, I'll go. Wins for the week. I didn't hit all the habits that I had planned for the week, but I hit 90% of them. And I have like 7 or 8 that I'm trying to accomplish each day. So for me to hit 90%, I'm taking that as a big win for the past 7 days.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff. What about you, Brian?
So my big win would be with my custody with my children. I have them a week on and a week off. So this week I had them the entire week, and I was still able to hit my morning workout, my evening workout, my gratitude, the gallon of water. So I don't know if I was 90%. I would say I was. So it's a win for me too. While doing that, I got to spend a lot of time with the boys. They had some interaction with me during the second workout. So it was fun.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we would know what percentage you were if you would download Habit Share and start sharing your habits with us. So,
hey, Kyle,
he's got
if you didn't know this, my coach is sitting right next to me and he gets it every day.
Ooh, well, maybe you need to add me then so I can see it too. And then we can both call you out. Well, I am now. You're welcome.
Okay. I will add you. I'm going to do it right this second.
All right. Awesome. So joining us, so Dr. David Powers today. So Doc, why don't you go ahead and just give us your background, start with kind of like how you grew up into what you're doing today, and we'll jump in and ask you some questions along the way.
All right. Sounds good. I grew up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which sounds really nice, but it's a very redneck vacation destination. And grew up in a trailer park. Had a rough time growing up. Bright red hair, rosy cheeks all my life, and got beat up a lot just because kids enjoyed beating up the redheaded kid. And that kind of led me down my progression of going into occupations where I learned how to hurt or kill people that were after me. So 17, I went in the Marine Corps. Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to drive you, right?
Right, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
that's
I started martial arts early because I just got tired of getting beat up. And Marine Corps at 17, 4 years in the Marines. And then, to be honest with you, I got tired of the job I was in, amphibious assault. And so, I mean, it was fun when we were doing something, but how often do we hit a beach these days? And so, it was always just training, clean the trucks. And so I went into the Army after that as a medic. And some people say, well, you were in the Marines, why not go into the Navy and be a corpsman? And there's no way I was going in the Navy, not after being a Marine. That's just wrong.
You didn't want to transfer to the women's department, as they call it?
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't want to go into the Boy Scouts or the Air Force. And so I went into the Army as a medic and served another 4 years in an armor battalion, which was awesome because hardly anybody got hurt, but when they did, it was really cool. And, my ambulance was a 113, which is a small armored vehicle. And, man, we would have so much fun in that thing. Plus, it was the only air-conditioned vehicle in the whole battalion. So, for the troops...
You said you had so much fun in the vehicle. Like, all right, so me and one of my buddies took the Commander's Humvee one time and just went Baja on these back trails up in Michigan and flooded it because we shorted out the electrical system. So what was like some of the most fun that you had in that?
Well, we kept trying to see just how big a tree we could knock over with it, and it was so much fun. And and though most of the time these days they don't like you taking them in the water, even though they'll float and move and everything. They do really nice in the water, even though you're not supposed to most times. But for the troops' comfort at night when we were asleep and we weren't being tactical, we would leave the AC on. That way, if we needed to treat somebody, we'd have a nice, cool place for them. And we also slept there, so that was nice.
It's convenient.
So after the Army, that was about 2001. After the Army, I was working disaster medicine. And so 9/11 happened, and I got to be like one of the first people to help start the Department of Homeland Security. So that was a lot of fun. Back when it first started and before it kind of became the bloated bureaucratic mess that it is now, it was just fun. I mean, the early days when we were responding to Katrina and stuff like that, it was a blast. And, we would go set up field hospitals and disaster sites and treat people. And man, it's just loads of fun. And some of the most amazing experiences I've had there, were doing that versus the military, because I got to do my job. There was very little paperwork, because you know how it is. You guys, when you're so far away from the commanders and where the paperwork is, you can kind of have fun, do your job, and just it's a blast. And that's me now. I mean, I'm out of the military, out of federal service now, except for contracting every now and then. So I live on a little farm in upstate South Carolina. Got 5 kids, and I do motivational speaking. I do stuff like this. I write books, just living the dream life. I got a mountain bike trail that's a couple miles long that right outside the front door. And so it's just a blast.
I think the 3 of us need to take a trip to South Carolina.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Dude, I got so much property here. I got like 10 acres that you can camp out on and just enjoy.
That's awesome. Yeah, we definitely need to do more. So I've been actually talking to a friend that I met through my mastermind group, Go Abundance Emerge. His name is Doug. And I was like, dude, we got to get some training in together at some point. But he's out in Colorado. So I'm like, I guess I'm going to make a trip to Colorado at some point. So now we got to go to Colorado. We got to come to South Carolina. We're getting all over the place. And it's funny that you said that about Myrtle Beach. So I went to Myrtle Beach one time, and my take on it was just so overly touristy. Like I felt like everything I passed was either a gift shop or like a putt-putt course. I'm like, this is not my idea of relaxing. Like I want to get away from people when I go on vacation. So
have you ever watched Eastbound and Down?
What's his name? Danny
McBride.
Yes. Yeah. I have,
most
but it's
of
been a
that
while.
show was in Myrtle Beach, and it was so accurate.
That's hilarious. Yeah. The haircut and everything. The mullet. Yeah. Nice.
Definitely back today. Very popular. It is.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so one thing that you mentioned in there was martial arts training, Doc, and that's something that we have all participated in as well. Randy was a college wrestler, and we do jiu-jitsu now. So what are some of the martial arts that you practiced? Maybe what were some of the key takeaways that you learned through them?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I started the early days like most kids with, Tang Soo Do or Jeet Kune Do, stuff like that, just whatever was around where I was living. And I enjoyed it because it gave me an outlet to fight where I wasn't so dead set on trying to hurt somebody. A lot of anger in my early years because I just tired of getting beat up. And, so a lot of the fights I started in school before martial arts, I just wanted to hurt somebody or wanted to really get back at somebody that was being mean to me. So martial arts gave me a reason to get fit and a reason to learn how to fight that was just based on a challenge and being fun and helping the other person evolve as well. I mean, it's like jiu-jitsu. I've not done jiu-jitsu much, but I know that, unless you're just purely trying to win tournament style, it's a matter of getting in there and having fun with somebody and teaching each other. It's just lots of fun. I mean, now I'm getting into Filipino martial arts with sticks and knives and things like that, and way more fun. Way more. As a matter of fact, I've got some bloody knuckles right now. It's a blast.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I've taken away from jiu-jitsu, and it sounds like, from your experience in martial arts and Randy and Brian, I don't know about you guys, but is the emotional intelligence aspect. So when I first started, I did Taekwondo as a kid, but I quit in the 4th grade and, I really don't remember it much. So when I got back into it as an adult, it really tested my emotional intelligence. Going in there, with the intent to just learn and to train and to help somebody get better. And it's important to keep your ego in check. And there are so many times, and Randy and I have talked about it on the show before, where I let my ego lead the way in that, regard, and I'm competing against somebody who's much smaller than me and getting my butt kicked. And it's just super frustrating. And once you take away those lessons, it definitely applies to the rest of your life when it comes to business, being a father, being a spouse, all of those things. There's so many good analogies for life within martial arts. So I'm sure that you found the same thing. Randy, I don't know if you have anything to add to that as well.
Yeah, just the analogy for life, like you were talking about. Like, I'm 180 pounds, and when I have a 250-pound guy on top of me, like, I can't just go crazy and get out there. I have to keep my emotions under control, which helps you in life in those situations where you're starting to get stressed out. And instead of me freaking out, now I'm able to stay calm and work through the situation.
I couldn't agree more. Years ago, I was at a gym where I was constantly training boxing and Thai boxing. For me, I would walk into the sparring ring with the idea that we're here to spar. But that one punch that you got that was a little extra than that 75%, boom, makes you want to. And that's where it really comes into controlling self, the discipline to be like, okay, this is just sparring. I don't need to kick the guy's ass right now. But it does. It adds a lot to life and how you control yourself outside of a gym.
Oh, yeah. Something I've gotten into a bunch lately, kind of an outbreak of the Filipino martial arts, is cane fu. It's a weird, like, fighting with canes, and it's geared towards disabled people. But my dad's a disabled vet and has to use a cane and walking stick quite a bit. And it's a lot of the same skills as the Filipino stick fighting, but it's using what I consider the only 100% legal weapon you can carry anywhere, even on a plane. You can carry your walking cane.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I never thought about that.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Plus, you get a cool cane. It just looks neat. Get a top hat and a cane, just walk through the mall or whatever.
That's awesome. So you had mentioned that you were doing some motivational speaking nowadays. So kind of give us some background on that and maybe how the ideal skills work into that. So again, for everybody out there that's listening, ideal intentionality, discipline, emotional intelligence, accountability, and loyalty. So again, the motivational speaking and anything else just as far as like entrepreneurship and being self-employed, all of that stuff as well that you're doing now.
Oh, yeah. Motivational speaking, I got started with that teaching first aid and CPR just because of my medical background. And so I had to go to a lot of medical conferences. And most of the time when I went, and you being in law enforcement, you'll understand this, at most of those conferences, it's the training officers that are doing the presentations, and they suck. Most of them are not good speakers. They just have a job that is training officer, and so they get tapped to speak. And so I started offering to speak for free, and then it morphed into getting paid to do it. And now I get to travel all over and mostly speak at EMS conferences, a few fire, a few law enforcement, mostly EMS. And I branched into motivational, but to be honest with you, what I enjoy more than that, because the motivational, you're typically doing like a keynote address, hopefully a few thousand people, if it's not the last thing of the conference and nobody shows up. But what I enjoy is the small training, the breakout sessions. And as far as the ideal aspects that you guys talk about so much, I love doing a pre-conference. It's like an 8-hour, I call it NCO school because it's training middle managers how to understand all the things that you guys talk about with ideal. And emotional intelligence being one of the biggest ones that I harp on, because I like to do this NCO school where it's kind of like a leadership seminar for middle management, the NCOs, the people that really run the organization. And so that's what I've gotten into more and more just because I enjoy it more. It doesn't pay as good, but it's more fun for me and more towards my calling.
Yeah, I think three of us were all NCOs, and I think that applies. So I'd like to maybe catch up on that, see one of these that you're talking about. When's the next one?
Oh, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'll do like an 8-hour pre-conference if I can talk them into it. And man, the reason I enjoy it so much, I think, is because it's a small group, usually 20 or less, and I can actually, in 8 hours, I really get to know everybody, and I'll stay in touch with them later, things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like the intent there is much more of an intimate setting, so you get to build those deep connections and really connect with people. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So you said something there. So you started speaking for free and then it morphed into something that, what you're doing professionally now. So would that be something that you would give advice to people like, hey, if there's something that you enjoy doing and you're not sure how to monetize it, because we talk about that so often in society today, especially around entrepreneurship. And when you're involved in these mastermind groups, it's like, hey, find your purpose and the money will follow. And we've taken that mindset here with Ideal too. It's like, hey, we're giving away free coaching all the time to just try to add value to people because that is our mission. So would that be a piece of advice that you might give somebody who's trying to get started in something that they're actually like passionate about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, to get started speaking free, it wasn't just at those conferences. I would speak at churches a lot too. And, small churches, you're lucky if they take up an offering for you, or maybe they take you out to eat afterwards. But it got me the experience because I'm a big introvert. And so for me, getting up on stage, it was one of those I need to conquer my challenges thing. And so I started getting up on stages as much as possible. And that's how I got to where I was comfortable speaking. And even now I'm comfortable to the point where I'm not the best speaker. I get dressed up, but I still stick out because I got the beard and the bald head. But even when I mess up on stage, it doesn't bother me because I've split my pants before. I've how right before you go up on stage, you like wash your hands in the bathroom and then splatters on the front of your pants, that kind of thing. Yeah, it looks like you peed yourself on stage. I've done that. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I'm comfortable enough speaking, and that's only from experience. If I mess up, so what? In an hour, I'm gone. I still get paid. If they don't bring me back, I don't know why. I'll just kind of include that in the self-evaluation.
That's awesome.
What I've found from teaching is like, if you do screw up, like they don't know that you're screwing up anyway.
Yeah. Because you're up on stage. I mean, you're like the hero to most of those people. Right. Unless you're like me and you're looking at the training officer saying, you suck.
I think that's awesome though too. So basically, I have a friend that I was talking to this week who it was so funny because I heard through the grapevine and it all came back to somebody that I end up talking to every single day, that they had been struggling with putting themselves out there, being comfortable. They're an introvert. They want to get better at speaking, communication, eventually get into public speaking. And they asked for some advice. I'm like, reps. The only way to get better at it, to get more comfortable, is to just not fear the mistakes that you could, no matter how long you wait, no matter how much you practice, you're going to make mistakes. The best thing that you can do is just put yourself out there. So I sent him the link to sign up for a podcast interview. I'm like, hey, it's reps for you. It's reps for us. Like all around, it's a win-win. It's not going to go perfectly. Who cares? We're all going to learn from it and continue to get better. So I love that you took that mindset, and in order to overcome that fear, you just did it. My biggest fear is sharks, and I have zero plan on ever actually overcoming that fear and getting into the water with sharks, but I think it's a little bit different.
Oh, you know how I did that? I worked one summer in Key Largo as a dive research intern, and I started taking trips with this one guy that would go down there and pet the sharks. So he would like go down there with bait fish in his hands and chainmail gloves on. And, I'm down there with him the first time. And I grew up in Myrtle Beach, so sharks were just normal when we were surfing. But I'm down there watching this guy in a scuba gear, and he hands me a nurse shark. And it's just like, hands it to me. And next thing I know, it's in my arms. And it's like, okay, it's not so bad.
We're doing
May not do this again, but it's not so bad.
Well, hey, at least it wasn't a great white or something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to make it a point when we make this trip to see him down in South Carolina. You're getting in the water.
It's going to take I don't know what it would take to do that. And the funny thing is, I grew up on the water. I spent my entire days in the summer on the beach in Newport, Rhode Island. And I got in the water all the time when I was a kid until I watched the movie Jaws. And I remember I'm like, Mom, Dad, like those are in that water and you let me do that? Like that's horribly irresponsible as a parent.
What's scarier to me is alligators. Because, the sharks, most of the time you see them. It's like they have to warn you before they bite you. The alligators, though, we would swim in the rivers and black water and stuff like that. And, they're huge and they're scary, and you never see them until they're there.
Yeah. I'm in Texas. Well, I'm not in Texas. Currently, right now, I'm in Mentor, Ohio. I'm back home. I'm in my parents' house. But my wife and she just got back into Houston this morning, and I'm going back next week. But I saw somebody post in the local community page, they have an 8-foot gator in their pond right now. So I will not be going in the lake or the river or anything along those lines or any body of water whatsoever while I'm down there anymore.
Mine is snakes, and I will not go near a snake. I don't care if it's a gardener snake or it doesn't matter what kind of snake it is. I'm not going near it.
I have to agree with him. That I have a very embarrassing story about a garter snake that.
Oh, I have several. Yeah,
it scared the shit out of me, and at the time my little 5'4" wife picked the snake up and walked it away. Like I wasn't gonna do this. Not a chance.
I've always wanted to be one of those guys that would just go pick them up.
No way.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't know enough about snakes to know which ones are absolutely safe. I don't want to get bit by any of them.
I got a buddy that I work with. I'm gonna shout out to Johnny. Awesome dude. He's got all the reptiles, big ass turtles, snakes and stuff. He's tried to get me to hold him over and over and over again. And I just can't do it. So Johnny, you got balls, brass balls, man.
So funny is, so we're all talking about this stuff. So obviously sharks are an irrational fear. I can just stay out of salt water. That's pretty simple. We're talking about snakes and all this, and every single one of us signed up to potentially sacrifice our own lives and go into battle and do, all this stuff. And it's like, I remember too, I was at the hospital one time. I had appendicitis, and the nurse comes over. I have tattoos, and she's telling me, "Hey, we're gonna start an IV." I'm like, I can't look because I'll probably pass out if I look while you're doing that. And she's like, "It's always you big guys with tattoos that can't watch, can't do needles." I'm like, "Listen, that they're just there to make me look tough. It doesn't mean that I am tough. It's a scare tactic. It's like a poison dart frog. They're bright colored for a reason."
We were in a training exercise in North Dakota, and they had us like on this ranch, like where the cattle were. They just moved them, and that's where we stayed for 3 weeks. And there was 2 rattlesnakes in the tent, so I packed all my shit and moved tents, like thinking
thinking the rattlesnake just can't get into the other tent.
Like they're only gonna go in this tent, so I'm gonna go over to this tent.
I would say your intentionality there was misguided, Randy.
I ended up sleeping on the trailer of the truck eventually. I was like, screw this. There's too many snakes everywhere.
If I had been there, I would have been going out and finding a big rubber snake to throw at you in the middle of the night, right on your chest while you were sleeping. Like,
I'm definitely afraid of them. We were on a hike once, and I didn't even realize that I did it, but a little gardener snake just went out on the path, and I threw like my daughter in front of me. Like that.
So I guess we won't be starting Ideal Parenting anytime soon. So anyway, to Brian, your superpower is keeping us on track, and here we are talking about snakes and sharks.
I was just looking to do that, but
and how are you going to do that? Go ahead.
I was going to ask the doc. Basically, we talked a little bit about your background. We know that you've done some public speaking, that you were in 2 different branches of the military. I want to know a little bit more about, you grew up getting picked on, you went to do a job. What led to all that? I mean, at some point or another, between your adolescence and your adulthood, you chose the path of becoming a doctor. What did it take? Try to relate that to what we talk about on a daily basis. Was it just intentionality? You said to yourself, I want to do this. Or was it something that happened in your life? How did this come about?
It was actually a good mix of both that led the pathway to that. In EMS, I call it the year of hell. I had a lot of friends get killed, both in EMS and in the military. And the biggest one that got me, I think, it was a good friend of mine that I served in the Marine Corps with, and he went back as a contractor. And I saw him at Walmart. I was working on an ambulance, saw him at Walmart right before he left, and he was trying to talk me into it. He said there was another position open, go with me. And he went over, I didn't, had a couple kids by then, just, tired of that life and didn't want to miss the kids. And he ended up getting killed on the way into Fallujah. And I would have been, basically an RPG got shot through the front windshield of his Suburban and just incinerated the inside. And I would have been sitting right beside him. And that and a few other things that happened in EMS, some friends getting killed on fire scenes, pushed me to the edge as far as EMS went. And, had enough of that. And, I decided that, you know what, crappy pay, everybody's dying around me in what should be a fairly safe occupation in the United States. Except I was getting shot at more in the ambulance than I did in the military, which baffled me. I mean, I'm here in upstate South Carolina where it should be fairly safe, and the rednecks usually don't shoot at you, but everybody else was. And so I decided, you know, I'm going to leave EMS. I'm going to burn that bridge, and I'm going to go back to school. And the intentionality part was I wanted to get a terminal degree. Yeah, be honest with you, it didn't matter what it was in, but the trouble I'd had in EMS led me to seek a counseling degree. And so I went to seminary, and I was actually in 2 different college programs at one time because I'm very driven when I want to do something. So with the intentionality aspect of that, I wanted to finish this degree, but I also wanted to get my doctorate and get a terminal degree. And I was doing both at the same time at night, had a couple of kids, just staying up late, and got my degree in counseling. And my idea behind that was that I wanted to go back to EMS and help the people that were having the same trouble I did. I knew that self-therapy, in a way, the things I learned in counseling, the internships, the working with other people, it helped me get better myself, but also gave me tools that I could use to help others. And that's when I started doing the speaking more, the motivational speaking. I call it motivational speaking for lack of a better term, but it's more of a, I don't know, therapeutic, get off the couch and do something kind of speaking. And so, you know, that's where I am now. I like helping people that are going through the same thing I went through. But you guys understand, being in the military and law enforcement, you can't just talk to anybody. And the weird thing is, the people that would understand it the most, the ones that are right beside you, you can't talk to them either, because then they're going to question you, or you worry if they're going to question you or crack up or something. And so I try to be that guy that's enough outside the system that people can talk to, and that I can help them get a little bit better and keep serving. Or if it's time for them to get out, like, I just needed to get out. I was useless as a paramedic at that point, because all I wanted to do was get in and out of a scene, be done as quick as possible. I got to the point where I was enjoying the trauma scenes more than the medical scenes, just because it was something I could do hands-on and actually fix. And so it was just a bad time for me. And so now I want to help the people that are having those troubles.
Were you still working during this time? You said you were in 2 degree programs. Were you?
Yeah, I was in an associate's degree program, getting a paramedic degree, just to up my money. And then I was doing night school at night with the seminary stuff, and then working in between. I mean, you know how EMS and fire, we work 24/48 usually. Mm-hmm. And so I'd work 24 hours. And if it was a slow station, I could do schoolwork while I was at work. And then 48 hours off, and, you know, sleep as little as possible.
But you also had 2 kids, I think, at that time. You're married, yeah. I'm assuming. You know, you have other responsibilities. What did you do to balance it all?
I didn't. It was rough. And matter of fact, kind of what was born out of that, I've got a lecture now, and it's called, let's see, My Wife Hates Me, My Kids Don't Know Me, and I Think I Have a Dog. That's the title of the lecture. And it's all about life balance.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was a good question, Brian, too, because I think that's one of the biggest things when I am talking to new clients or something. They often tell me, hey, time management is a big thing. And really what it comes down to, I'm like, hey, we all have 24 hours in the day. Regardless of what you do, how you cut it, you have 24 hours in the day. We spend about 8 hours of that sleeping. So now you're down to 16 hours. You can only do so much. And there are going to be many times in life where it is out of balance. It's a matter of keeping that in mind and eventually working towards getting it as close to balance as possible. But in reality, there is no such thing as completely balanced. But that's why it's just so important to be mindful of it and take actions to get back on track when you can.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now I'm building my dream life now based on that, because, like, for one thing, I've given up a lot of income so I can spend more time with the kids. I've got a home office, constant interruptions. We homeschool too, so I mean, they're here all the time. And I mean, like, we started out the morning. I've got my little kids in the weight room. I've got an old barn with a squat rack and some bench press, and even my little girls doing bench press and everything. And I'm at home at lunch almost every single weekday, eating lunch with the kids. We have dinners together. And I don't want to do it to the point where they just get tired of me and have no time without dad. But I've given up a lot of income and a lot of job opportunities just to, more time with the family, because in a few years, they're all going to be gone. I can always build my business back up after that point, but I want to enjoy as much time as I can with the kids.
That is awesome. I think it's really important. I can relate to that right now. I want to spend as much time with my boys as possible with the situation that we're in. So I applaud you for that. There are plenty of parents out there today, and this is one of the things that we've talked about in the past. The parenting of today's world is just so different. So what you're doing, Doc, I think is awesome. Putting the family before, the career. That is dedication. That is discipline. You could easily be like, you know what? I'd rather be at work because it's easier. It's peaceful. It's quiet. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of people go about their days now. So,
yeah. And it's made me smarter too. I mean, I'm building, anytime I do something now, I'm looking for ways to, like a lecture. If I do a keynote lecture, I'm looking for ways to repurpose the content. So I'll do the work once and then publish it in 30 different places. And so, either passive or near passive income. And that's my goal, is to get to it's a huge goal right now, but I want to get to the $1,000 a day in passive income. And that way it's $1,000 a day, which is a lot of money compared to what I'm making now. And it's all passive. Like if I want to go to the zoo or spend all day going out looking for snakes so I can come hide them in you guys' houses, I can do that.
I'm telling you right now, if the doctorate falls through, you got to become a comedian, dude. You're fucking hilarious.
A comedian and a professional.
Trying to do stand up one time and telling all the dark jokes we used to talk about at the ambulance station, but I figured people wouldn't like that.
I think that's what the world needs right now. They need more dark humor. People take life and they're offended by everything. And it's like Dr. Phil says something we talked about on a previous show, but just because you can be offended doesn't mean you should be offended. Like lighten up a little bit and enjoy yourself. It's incredible where we're at. One thing that you said in there, or excuse me, you actually said this in your episode of Small Steps, Big Wins with our friend Sue Soller. So shout out to Sue and her podcast. Make sure everybody listens to that. But that you like to do dangerous things safely with your kids. So kind of what is the intent there? And does that tie into your philosophy around homeschooling at all as well?
Oh, absolutely. And two things. First, I was talking with Sue yesterday about you guys. We go to church together. And so we were talking about you guys over
that's
coffee.
Awesome. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't even know. I think she did mention that to me. That's awesome that you guys go to church together.
Yeah. But that quote, I ripped it off from Jordan Peterson, so I have to give him credit. But dangerous things carefully. And so I want to, even among dads, we're trying to be all manly and everything. But when we see our kids doing dangerous things, there's that instinct to make them want to stop or be more careful. And though there are certain things that I make them do, like, when we're mountain biking, we wear helmets because I've already busted my grape open too many times. And so we'll wear helmets when we're mountain biking, but I encourage them to just go do dangerous things and just be careful with it. If you're climbing a tree, kind of the thing with my kids climbing trees, or what we love is when we find a little valley and there's a dead tree across the valley and like a little bridge. And so you can walk that bridge and, a 20, 30-foot drop. And so I always tell my kids, if you start to fall or lose your balance, just go ahead and jump. You're going to be safer trying to control that jump than you are falling and landing on your back or your head or something. And so dangerous things carefully. You climb trees, but, don't climb the little tiny limbs. That's how you be careful doing something dangerous. Guns, I know guns are a touchy issue. Like you said, people get offended by guns, just the idea of them. I go by the premise of teaching my kids how to handle guns, and that way I don't have to worry as much about the safety. A gun is naturally a dangerous thing, but the safely way to do it is kids knowing how to use it and it not being such a foreign thing that it looks like a toy to them. They realize that this is something I need to pay special attention to. If I'm at a friend's house and find one, I need to tell somebody, that kind of stuff. Do the dangerous stuff, but just do it smart.
Yeah. So I had made a post on the Ideal Impact Podcast Instagram page about how I would address the current issue of gun violence that we're experiencing. And one thing that I would do is definitely reinstate firearm education within schools. Now, ultimately, you're as a parent, I think that ultimately does fall on you. But when we go back and we look through history, that's another thing that I think we're doing wrong in society today is we're ignoring history or trying to erase it rather than learning from the mistakes that have been made in the past. But if we do that, if you learn to respect something, whether it's the height of a tree or a firearm itself, if you learn to respect it and you learn and you understand that it is a dangerous thing that can be used in a responsible manner, can be scaled in a responsible manner, whatever it is that you're facing in life, then that ultimately like kind of disarms that curiosity aspect. So I love the thing that you're approaching there. How do you think that those lessons apply to other areas of life as well? Because I'm sure that's kind of the intent there, right? Is to teach your kids like, hey, there's other things that you're going to come across in life. If you can do it with this specific thing, you can do it with other things.
Absolutely. I mean, a core part of our homeschooling is critical thinking and logic. And so it's a core subject, but it's part of every subject we teach. I mean, like for instance, with gun safety, critical thinking and logic plays a big part into that with knowing what to do. I mean, it's a step-by-step checklist driven. I mean, just thinking about gun safety, whether you're unloading one, whether you're checking to see if it's safe, it's logically based. And it's just really fun trying to bring that into aspects with my kids. I mean, I've got younger kids. I mean, a lot of videos that I can't post on YouTube, but I mean, I got my kids out working chainsaws and everything, and just I teach them slowly. I start them out with, the small stuff, working on small limbs. And next thing you know, my kids are cutting the trees for me while I'm working, that kind of thing. It's pretty cool. And I don't have to worry about those things laying around, machetes and chainsaws. I mean, so if you guys ever come visit, I mean, it's going to be fun.
How old are your kids?
Okay, so my oldest is 18. He's out of the house. But I've got a 16, 12, 10, and 6 still in the house.
So I have a 6-year-old myself, and I find it difficult because I do things with he's been riding in a motorcycle or at least a dirt bike or a four-wheel since he was 2. Just this past week, we're out at a drag strip and he's drag racing. To me, it's easy to do that stuff that I grew up on, but I struggle with what you're talking about. Like, I get nervous when he picks up a hedge tripper or, hedge clipper.
Yeah.
Like, how do you leverage that? Like, you just have to let it go and be like, they're gonna learn, because I have to just tamp that
down. One of the things I do, like my 16-year-old, when he was 15, I let him go start helping. He was working with a guy that does remodeling. And that was part of how I had to do it. Because if he's beside me working with the circular saw, things like that, I'm going to be eyeballing him. And every 30 seconds, I'm going to be like, you being safe? Got your goggles? Whatever. If he's off working with somebody else, I just got to let it happen. And, trust that he's going to do what I've taught him. But like the gun safety, I actually I paid a friend of mine. He was going to do it for free, but I threw some money at him. And he was in the Marines and Marine Security Forces and a whole lot more handgun training than I ever had. And so I paid him to come teach a full-day homeschool class to all my kids on gun safety, because I knew they're going to listen to him way more than me. And so outside instructors, and then just pushing the kids out the door and, go do dangerous things with somebody else for a while. And that way I can rest. I don't have to be so stressed out all the time.
Yeah. And I think it's for me. So I don't have kids, but my dad, I grew up around firearm. My dad was in the Navy for 22 years. So he was in the women's department of the Marine Corps there, right?
I wish I'd known that before I said something.
No, you're good. We give each other shit all the time. So, but he was on the marksmanship team for the Navy. My grandmother was a marksman, my grandfather. So I grew up around firearms, but I had such a high level of respect for what that was that I would never even fathom going and touching a firearm without my father around or somebody who's responsible enough to handle it correctly. So, and to me, that means you can't, no matter what you do, your children are not going to live in a bubble. They're going to be introduced to dangerous situations. So why not introduce them to them at a young age in a safe manner so they know how to think logically and critically through that experience, and you're setting them up for success in the life. But by keeping them in a bubble, whether it's emotionally, physically, whatever it may be, you're not setting them up for success. You're setting them up for failure, because then they're not going to know how to handle that situation on their own.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and experimentation too. We had an incident here on the farm a couple weeks ago where one of the neighbor's dogs got loose and was trying to bite at my daughter. It's a little dog, so not very dangerous. It just nip at you. And I watched for a while out the window to see how she would react. And so I was curious what she was going to do, and it didn't go well. So I had to run out there with a stick. But I mean, it was a learning experience. And so after that, though, we've got sticks strategically stationed all around the house in case the dog comes back. Matter of fact, I shot at it this morning. I had my Glock out in the weight room with me just in case the dog came up, and well, it did. So, the fun things you can do out in the country in South Carolina. But just experimentation. You just got to give them a chance to get hurt, and But like you said, when they're young in a controlled environment, that's how you do it carefully. While they're here, they may get hurt, but it's in a controlled environment. And I know plenty of medical skills to patch them up. Or patch me up. I'm the one that usually gets hurt the worst.
I mean, I have three kids of my own, and I find that if you ignore these things and you don't talk about them, they become more curious about it, and then they're going to go find out this information on their own or at a friend's house, and I don't have control over that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sex education was a big part of our homeschool, too. Lots of time spent looking at uncomfortable drawings and things in school books.
But that needs to happen.
Right.
That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. And that's really concerning. And it's not a secret that there are plenty of people out there that are producing children and are not ready and should not be. And
right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I teach health and PE, and I used to teach high school health, and we would go over sex education. And the questions that I would get, like, they don't know. They don't know. Like, they're seeing stuff on videos and talking to their friends, and that's where they're getting their information from. And they think this stuff is true. Like, oh, I can't get her pregnant because we're in a hot tub. I'm like, well,
Well, and that's the thing is, like, especially now with the kids having phones, and I mean, you're exposed to things, pornography, whatever, sexual exploitation at such a young, impressionable age. It's like, you need to be, as a parent, well, we'll just leave it at that. As a parent, you need to be having those conversations, because there are so many external influences that, again, are out of your control. It's like, hey, I have to have this uncomfortable situation. I need to be emotionally intelligent enough. I need to hold myself accountable to have this expectation, because I owe it to my kids to set them up for success.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've probably let my kids, I don't know, the Karens out there would not like some of the things I've let my kids watch. I mean, some of the movies, some of the ways I let my kids joke, and especially my 16-year-old, he's kind of hitting an age where he'll joke a little bit, or he'll send me videos from Instagram and stuff. And sometimes he'll push it too far, and I need to say, okay, yeah, so this was funny, but, dial it back just a little bit, and let's don't watch this kind of stuff. But I mean, it's like you say, they're young, and it's in a controlled environment. And so that way I can kind of shepherd that and let them know when they do mess up and they need to go back a step.
Well, and I love that you just said that, because I think it's great that your kids are comfortable enough sharing those things with you and then absorbing the feedback that they're getting, because that's an amazing way to learn. Like, hey, like, there's a line, you probably crossed it a little bit, let's dial it back. So that's awesome. One other thing too, I wanted to go back to it. So you had mentioned in your background that you were, and correct me if I misstate this, but a founding member of Homeland Security, correct? Yep. So could you explain just a little bit more about your experience there? And then I think after that, we'll get into wrapping it up with our three questions.
Okay. I mean, that was tremendously amazing for me, because I'm just a big nerd about things like that, heraldry and organizations and things. And so I was working for FEMA doing disaster medicine, and then 9/11 happened. And next thing you know, President Bush started up this whole new department. And I mean, like, you've got the military, you've got everything else in this new department, the Department of Homeland Security. And so get to be a part of that from the beginning was really cool, because I got I've got a plaque somewhere back there behind my Chucky doll, but I got a neat little plaque saying I was a founding member, and a little pin and everything. And so not tremendous money value, but it's the kind of thing that you just don't see very often. I mean, how often is an entire department of the government stood up from nothing? And so because I was in FEMA, we got absorbed into that and actually got to help write a lot of the protocols and the practices for disaster medicine. And so basically responding to any man-made events, responding to natural disasters, whether it's tornadoes, wildfires, hurricanes, things like that. I got to go to a couple of the G8 summits that were held here, and so got to be part of the Secret Service medical team there in case there was something that happened. And that was a lot of fun because the resources that come to bear from all the different agencies, I mean, we all talk about how bloated the government is and all that kind of stuff and how needless some of it is. But when we get to go out and play with all of our cool toys and do some fun stuff, I mean, it's just that's the government at its best when we're actually doing our job, we're doing something right and something that's needed and called for. And so, yeah, they rolled us into that. We got neat new uniforms. We got to be part of that. And the pay didn't go up. Oddly enough, the pay didn't go up at all. It was still cool.
The government didn't pay you more money? That's unheard of.
Yeah. And, nothing service related, right? That weird ringing in my ears, I'm wondering if it's you guys talking or if it's just the tinnitus.
You've had a lot of jobs and cool experiences. So I want to know which one do you like, which title do you like the most? Like, what's the most important one to you?
As far as just pure title, combat medic, it sounds cool because it makes people think that you're like, attaching a tourniquet with one hand while you're firing away with an M16 with the other. And
I was literally picturing the same thing, but maybe like a 240 Bravo with one hand, instead of the M16.
I'm one hand in the Mark 19 and just firing off and dragging somebody with the other out of a burning helicopter. That's what reality was like. But no, that's the coolest title. But as far as the funnest job, it was disaster medic with Homeland because, for instance, Katrina, we went down there and we went south of New Orleans and we took over an old high school that got flooded near some of the refineries, and we set up all these tents and everything on the football field. We were landing Blackhawks on the football field and just thinking, wow, this, 2 weeks ago, this was a high school and there were kids out here playing football and stuff. And now here we are, we've got hundreds of patients coming in. We got wild packs of dogs roaming around, people with snake bites. Snakes were horrible after Katrina because they all got washed out of the swamp and they were in the houses and everything. And not only that, spiders too. I don't like spiders or scorpions. Like the way you guys feel about snakes, for me, it's spiders and scorpions. And they were everywhere, but we were doing our job. And, once again, we had air-conditioned tents because it was medical. And so we had a nice, cool place to relax. And they had a decommissioned cruise ship that had been up in Nova Scotia. And they floated it down and parked it down there for us. And that's where we lived for a couple of weeks in an old, moldy cruise ship, which was actually kind of neat.
That is awesome.
Great. Yeah, that's one thing. So the South, I've learned about, we've seen scorpions, tarantulas. I saw a black widow for the first time, like out in the wild last week. So yeah, I'm good on spiders for sure. That's awesome. So yeah, thanks for sharing all of that with us.
I want to show you something really cool.
Yeah, go for it.
I thought the badass hatchet, the baseball bat with barbed wire, and all that other shit was pretty cool.
So as far as scorpions go, I hate them because scorpions just look evil. So what I like to do is I grab them with tweezers and drop them in alcohol. And I've got boxes and boxes of dried scorpions that I found. These all came from inside my house.
What?
Well, no thanks, son.
I don't know that we're going to take a trip to meet this gentleman.
Yeah, no, I'm good on Ohio. After living in Texas now for 4 months, I'm like, yeah, no, Ohio's cool. We have so many less things that can bite you and hurt you or kill you.
That sounds like some cool science experiments, though, for the homeschooling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, anything you can log in for homeschool, that, catching scorpions is just botany or biology or whatever, depending on what you're doing with them.
I'll go ahead and get us kicked off with our final 3 questions here. So the first one that we like to ask is, so of the ideal skills, so again, intentionality, discipline, emotional intelligence, accountability, and loyalty, what is your biggest challenge and what are some things that you've done to work on that skill?
The emotional intelligence, for sure. I mean, that was an easy one, my hardest one, because I lack empathy. I don't have any of it. I wasn't born with it, and don't feel sorry for people usually. And so I've had to work on that. But to the point where I recognize I have certain strengths, and my strengths are, fall into the whole mission first, troops later category. Very analytical and disciplined, and I'll forget that there are other people involved. And so, especially having kids, I've got to just tamp that down and sometimes just abandon the discipline in favor of like, hey, my kid just needs a hug right now. I got stuff to do, so it's a short hug, but hey, he just needs a little hug right now. So I just have to work on that. That's a work in progress, but emotional intelligence is my weakness.
I gotta know how, like, more kids have every kid has their own personality. So how do you have 5 kids? How do you deal with each personality, and how are you able to use your emotional intelligence to work that?
It's been difficult, but I teach a lot of DISC. The DISC test, where you different personality attributes, and I've tried to apply that with my kids. And the older ones, when they get older, I make them take the DISC, and that way it really clues me into like, how does this person want to be approached? But one of the biggest things for me is letting them know how I am, and it keeps me from being too direct sometimes with them. Like letting them know that, hey, when you want something from Dad, just give them the facts. And that way I don't get frustrated. I don't feel like they're wasting my time. Just they know how to approach me. I know how to approach them. And it helps everything out quite a bit. Keeps the emotions down or the negative emotions.
Hey, Doc, I'm probably the only idiot in the room here that doesn't know what that DISC is, what it stands for. This might be something for our listeners that could help all of us improve our emotional intelligence. Can you elaborate on that? What is the DISC test?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you got DISC. So the D is like dominant, domineering, the alpha kind of person that just very direct, more self-centered. I mean, you can have the positive and negative aspect of each. So the I is more of what you'd consider the cheerleader type, which for me being a heavy CD, I hate the I's. Like you get somebody around me that's like constantly bubbly, and it sounds very feminine when I say cheerleader, but there are a lot of enthusiastic guys that are just always happy, always wanting to play around, things like that. And that wears me out. And so that's the I, the DI. The S is stable. The vast majority of people are S's. They're stable. They try to get along. For the most part, they'll do their job. You just leave them alone and they go off and do their thing. On the negative side, they're going to try to avoid conflict and just in an effort to get along. And then you've got the C. That's where I'm the highest. The C is, different letters, different words you can use for it, but I prefer concentrated. A C is more of an accountant type. They like numbers. They like facts and figures. And so just for instance, me being such a heavy C, if somebody's wanting something from me or wanting to talk to me, don't tell me a whole story. Just give me the bullet points. That's all I want. I really don't care about any of the other stuff. And so that's where, sometimes the lack of empathy comes in, is I have to listen to the stories sometimes. And so realizing that my kids are these other letter categories really helps me.
Gotcha. I don't know if you caught it. I said, how pissed were you through hearing all of our stories at the start of this?
No. You guys are fine. It's to be honest with you, it's when you're around somebody a lot, like you hear the same stories over and over. And so you finally get to a point where you just want to, can we just skip the first 10 minutes of that story and you just tell me what's new? Sure. Yeah, no, I meet people for the first time.
My wife, whenever she tells a story, like she'll be like, oh, guess what happened to me today? And then she'll go into like a 40-minute speech on things that like led up to that point. And I'm like, just get to the point of the story.
Yep.
I have that problem myself. I'm a storyteller.
Kyle?
Callie, dude, Callie's worse than I am. I love her to death, but I'm like, all right, when you tell me this, tell the Kyle version. Don't tell the Callie version. I'm like, how was your day? Oh, it was pretty good. Like I got a lot of rest. I got some stuff done. That was great. Or like, well, this morning at 8:03 a.m., I hit snooze twice, and then I got out of bed, and I'm like, Callie, I'm like, geez, Murphy.
It makes you just want to pull out the knife hand and just, tell me the facts.
Yeah. So it's funny too, because my wife was an E4. So I was an E6 and she was an E4. So I, sometimes I'll call her specialist, by her maiden, specialist with her maiden name. And she does not like that.
Getting us back on track, Doc. Next question. Next question is going to be, we always ask our listeners about a book, a specific book, or perhaps a specific podcast that you've read or listened to recently, or even in your past, that has really made an impact on you? If you have one, can you share it with us? You've got it right there.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
I pulled it out. It's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. It's not a brand new book. It's been out for a few years. But I read this book last year as part of a mastermind I'm in, and it's all about upper limit challenges. Realizing where you've hit an upper limit challenge, and that's keeping you from progressing more. And upper limit challenges are kind of those points you hit where you start to self-sabotage. And like me sending out that email blast last week, that went really well. I could have easily said to myself, I've sent out email blasts before and they didn't work. It's not fun for me to do. I'm just going to skip it. I'm not going to try this. That's an upper limit challenge. I moved past it because it needed to be done. And lo and behold, it ended up working out really well. And so this book, I read it. I went through a book club thing with my mastermind. But not only that, I read it at lunch with the kids. We always read and do a devotional before we eat. And so we read through this book as a family. And it's crazy. My kids will be watching TV with me at night, and a character on TV will do something stupid, usually drama or relationship stuff. And my kids will point at the TV and they'll say, they're hitting an upper limit challenge. They need to move past that. So it's amazing what the kids will pick up.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I probably need to read that book because I've been faced with some upper limit challenges recently and I've not navigated it well. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. It's something I'm going to look into.
Yeah,
I think we all need to read that one for sure. Because we're running into upper limit challenges every day with starting a new business and everything that everybody has going on with their families. So yeah, that is amazing. I had not heard that book before. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and it actually teaches you also to lean more towards your strengths. Like, I know I need to be careful with emotional intelligence, but God gave me strengths for a reason. Not to tamp them down, but that's the calling I'm supposed to put out into the world, is the strengths that I've been given.
I feel like a lot of people focus on their weaknesses too much. Like, yes, you want to make those better, but that you can't forget about the strengths. Like, why would you downplay your strengths and only focus on the weaknesses?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I got the last question.
I was going to say, who's going to ask?
All right, that's me. So if you could give any piece of advice to our listeners, what advice would you give?
Look for an adventure every day. And adventure, I really loosely define adventure. For you, it could be your listeners. It could be a new food. It could be getting out of the office for lunch. It could be trying something with your kids that you don't enjoy. Just something that is new and different. That's how I define adventure. And I try to look for a new one every single day. Like today, the adventure I've got planned is HIIT workouts. The HIIT workouts. I hate cardio, and you talked about running shoes. I love the Hokas, but I hate running. And so today, my adventure is I'm going to do a HIIT workout for my afternoon workout. And so that's my little adventure that I'm going to detest, but I may lose some weight and work out. I may love it. Who knows?
Hell yeah.
Well, when we come visit you or you come visit us, either way, we'll put you through a good HIIT workout, because that's something that we do regularly now. And as we've, Randy and I especially, we're very big on just lifting heavy for a very long time. And as we've gotten older, we're like, this is really stupid. We should probably do something like a little bit more overall beneficial to us as we get a little bit older and everything. And so that's really what we've been leaning into. I would tell you, it is something different when you're out there doing one of those workouts, when the heat index is like 113, 115, and like it has been in Texas when we were back home. And I was like, this is incredibly stupid and potentially dangerous. So that cranks it up a notch. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. The advice, I love that advice. That is awesome. Something that I've been doing is the Build Your Life Resume Calendar by Jesse Itzler. I'm not sure how he pronounces it.
Love that guy. That book he did with David Goggins was amazing.
It was hilarious. Yeah, so good. It's such a good read. But he has this big calendar where you basically like plan your whole year out from a life perspective, like date nights with your wife or trying something new every other month. Yeah, there you go.
Like a big wall calendar.
Yeah. I normally have it hanging up behind me, but I'm back home right now. But yeah, something like that, just doing something new, something small every single day. It's like we forget to live. We're so focused on just going through the day-to-day monotony of being an adult that we forget to do those small things that keep life interesting. So thanks for that advice there. And then where can our listeners either follow you on social media, get some of your content, and also subscribe to your email list? Like how can they do that?
Checkforapulse.com. So just like, CPR, just check for a pulse. That's me. They can find the newsletter. You go on Instagram and TikTok. I mean, I got videos on there, me and the kids doing weird stuff here on the farm.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for everything, especially for your time. Thank you for your service in so many ways, the Army, the Marine Corps, EMS, Homeland Security. That is all fantastic. We appreciate that greatly. Anything to add before we, one thing that I want to add, and hope I'm going to make sure that he listens to this episode. So one of my very good friends, his name is Sean Powers, and it's like looking at Sean.
I was going to say that, dude. I was going to ask, is that Sean's dad?
I mean, dead serious. You have to see Sean, because you guys are spitting images of each other. Big red beard. I mean, eye color, everything. And before he knows it, Sean, again, you're going to listen to this. You need to adopt the bald life. You need to do it, buddy. You got to adopt it.
Except for that crease right there. That's where I got hurt.
Yeah, I got a big lump in my head, like in my skull. Like I just have a huge bone that sticks out up there. Yeah, shut up, Brian.
I'm sorry, boys. I can't do it. I'm bald.
One day we're gonna hold Brian down and shave his head.
He did that to me before I went to basic training.
I didn't hold
He kind of did.
That's awesome. Randy, Brian, anything else to add?
So I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. It's been inspiring. You've made me want to go out and try something new and adventurous today. So I appreciate that.
Likewise, Doc. I think it was awesome. I think you captivated me. I think your humor, your stories. I think what you're doing with the public speaking and stuff is amazing. I'm serious when I say I hope maybe we can check one of those 8-hour things out. But keep doing what you're doing, man. You're changing lives, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And just one last thing to add. And the screwdriver. I've got a screwdriver frame back there. Bring me on another time, and I'll tell you the story about that. Somebody tried to kill me. Somebody tried to kill me with that screwdriver, and I framed it.
Nice.
But so that's a good story for another time. But this morning, working out, we were talking about getting old, and the military has ruined all our joints. I started experimenting with time under tension workouts instead of heavy weight, and I enjoyed it. I see you got a 45 on each side of that bar back there, and that's what I was benching this morning, which is pretty light for me, but I was doing the time under tension, and like 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down is a quicker workout, but it wore me out.
It makes it a lot harder.
Oh, yeah.
My days of going hard or hard and heavy are over. Like my joints can't take it. So I do a lot of time under tension, and I change stuff up.
I haven't figured that out yet because I'm actually training to do a bodybuilding competition, and I'm not really taking it that easy.
You're going to regret it, Brian. I'm training for a 10-mile.
I'm not going to regret it because I'm going to complete my goal by competing. And then when I'm done, then we'll make some modifications.
Well, how's it going? Because I mean, that like begs for a reveal.
Take it off, Brian. Let's.
We'll give a flex, but that's about it.
Girl, you got your competition thong yet?
I will not be wearing a thong. I'm going to do classic physique, so it's going to be like a pair of men's boxer briefs.
So you're not training legs, is what you're saying. Got it.
No, that is legs. You just don't. Your legs are still judged. You just don't wear the banana hammock. That's all.
Right. Oh, what's the one where they wear the board shorts and they don't do leg
physique.
Oh, okay, got it. I don't know the bodybuilding stuff. One thing. Oh shoot, that reminded me of something, and now I can't remember what it was. But either way,
the banana hammock.
Yeah. Well, no, the banana hammock got me sidetracked because I was thinking about Brian in a banana hammock, and then I got off topic.
Brian,
but yeah, awesome.
His second week of training right
now. This is I had started a few months back and ran into some really, really difficult time, and I put that on hold. I needed to focus on my kids and some other stuff. So I'm 2 weeks in. My coach is sitting next to me, the workouts, all that stuff, the motivation, when from him, it is important, but we'll give you, I'll send you a follow-up here in the next couple of weeks or a month or so.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for the time, Randy. We'll turn it over to you for our patented send-off.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Before we close out, first of all, I hope you enjoyed that podcast, whether it was an interview with an amazing entrepreneur or a business lesson for me. I sincerely hope that you gain something from it that you can use in your life moving forward. Before I leave, though, I need to mention that this podcast is sponsored by Lowe's Home Improvement Stores. I have become a Lowe's creator. It's a pretty cool thing because on this farm, I'm looking out the window right now and seeing all the things that I want to do around here. Most of these things I can do with products from Lowe's Home Improvement. And so I'm excited to be a Lowe's creator. If you want to check out some things from them and order some stuff and see my specially curated Lowe's storefront, you can click in the show notes. There's a link there for you. And I hope you build some amazing things. And hey, you know what? If you do, send me pictures. I would absolutely love to see the amazing things that you're building at your house using Lowe's products or anything else, really. I'm just curious. I want to know everything about you and everything about the cool projects you're doing because I'll be honest with you, I get some neat ideas for things I want to do at my house as well. All right, y'all take care. Thanks for listening.